Starlink satellites are impossible to miss in the night sky when they are launched. The astronomy community has discussed the Starlink satellite's brightness, but we now know that SpaceX is keeping its promise to make Starlink less bright, resulting in less light pollution and better night sky preservation. SpaceX's recently released document describes what they have been doing to achieve this. Welcome to Techmo. In today's video, we're going to talk about how SpaceX is reducing the brightness of its Starlink satellites. Astronomers have remarked that SpaceX's Starlink satellites emit too much light, which the company has been criticized for. Not only have Elon Musk and the rest of the team at SpaceX listened to the criticism, but they are also actively responding to it by working together with the community of astronomers to find a solution to the problem. SpaceX stated that as a result of the collaboration, it was able to identify the primary causes of satellite brightness and develop solutions to address them. When the satellites are at their normal operating altitude, the company is working to make it so that they cannot be seen with the naked eye even when they are in operation. Observers on Earth may be able to see satellites in the night sky if the sun rays are bright enough to illuminate the satellites. Nevertheless, the kinds of materials that are used for a satellite surface have a significant impact on how visible it is. The brightness of satellites is not caused by the satellites themselves emitting light. Rather, it is caused by natural sunlight scattering off of the surfaces of the satellites and reflecting back down to Earth. The light can scatter in either a specular or diffuse manner, depending on the circumstances. Specular surfaces are an area of investment for SpaceX. Light with a specular reflection is reflected in a straight line, just like a mirror. Light that is diffuse reflects from a variety of different angles. According to SpaceX, not all materials are highly reflective, and some of them can be absorptive, meaning that they make the light that is reflected significantly less bright. There are two different ways in which one can see SpaceX's satellites from the ground. Light from the sun is reflected off of the main body. The solar arrays cause a scattering of the sun's rays. As a solution, SpaceX incorporated preventative measures for both of these issues into its first-generation satellites currently in operation. Sun visors were a feature that SpaceX developed for its first-generation satellites. These visors prevent sunlight from striking the underside of the chassis, which is the body of the satellite. They were crafted from materials that were designed by engineers to be undetectable by radio frequencies and were used in their construction. The sun visors, on the other hand, prevented the laser links that SpaceX employs to broaden its coverage to more remote parts of the world from functioning properly. In addition, the visors caused the satellites to experience a significant amount of drag. Therefore, SpaceX came to the conclusion that the sun visors were not a viable option for the long run. As an alternative to the sun visors, SpaceX developed RF transparent mirror films for use in the spacecraft. The majority of the sunlight is deflected away from the planet as a result of the film. According to SpaceX, the company has been working to improve its mirror films so that they reflect less light back toward the Earth. It has plans to use its next-generation satellites to distribute an updated and enhanced version of the film. The intershell backing material was altered as a result of another modification that SpaceX made to its first-generation satellites. The material was originally white, but SpaceX altered it so that it is now a dark red color, which makes the arrays appear less bright. The darkening of the material has a negative impact in that it causes an increase in temperature of the solar array, which in turn has a negative impact on the array's performance. However, in order to lessen the glare caused by the satellites, SpaceX plans to implement a number of designs similar to this one. According to SpaceX, its second-generation satellite will increase the capacity of the Starlink network, which will connect more people in more locations. The following three advanced methods of brightness will be utilized by the second-generation satellites. A dielectric mirror film of the second generation will be applied to the underside of the satellites by SpaceX. By utilizing a metric known as the bidirectional reflectance distribution function, this iteration is able to reduce the apparent brightness in a manner that is 10 times more effective than the first-generation film. SpaceX accomplished the maximization of the film's specular scatter by conducting extensive research and going through iterations. The central portion of the film is composed of a Bragg mirror, which consists of numerous thin layers of plastic with a variety of refractive indices. These layers work together to generate interference patterns within the film, which in turn reflect the light. Additionally, it does not create any obstructions for the passage of radio waves. Thin, pure layers of titanium dioxide and silicon dioxide were added as a protective coating for the film in order to shield it from damage. These layers do not interact with the film in any way. On the Starlink website, SpaceX intends to eventually sell the dielectric mirror film in the form of a product. The reason for this is that SpaceX cannot eliminate the negative impact that satellites have on space exploration on its own. The film will be made available to all operators at no additional cost, and they will all be able to make use of it to mitigate the impact of their own constellations. SpaceX emphasized that not only is the work that the astronomy community is doing important, but that it would continue to collaborate with them to reduce the effects of all satellite operations. SpaceX is committed to improving the lives of millions of people here on Earth by connecting as many people as possible through Starlink. As a company that focuses on space exploration, SpaceX is an avid supporter of the field of astronomy and the wider scientific community. The corporation presented astronomers with an explanation of its objectives concerning the dimming of the satellites. Although it is possible to see Starlink satellites with the naked eye while they are in orbit, SpaceX has stated that its primary objective is to make the spacecraft generally invisible to the naked eye within a week of the launch and for almost all phases of their mission. The second objective is to reduce the impact that Starlink will have on astronomy by darkening satellites so that they do not saturate observatory detectors. According to SpaceX, the wide diffuse phased array antennas on the bottom of the satellite, the wide diffuse parabolic antennas on the sides, and the wide diffuse backside of the solar array all contribute significantly to Starlink's brightness. Because lower temperatures prevent components from overheating, all of these surfaces have been painted white. To this point, it has only investigated one potential method for lowering the brightness. A darkening treatment was applied to one of the satellites in a batch of 60 that was launched in the month of January. According to the company, the brightness of the Starlink satellite, which has been given the nickname DarkSat, was reduced by about 55%. Even though the DarkSat method was successful in lowering the brightness of the satellites, dark surfaces still reflect some light, despite their tendency to become hot and potentially cause damage to the satellites. Instead, SpaceX intends to launch a different method the following month, which they refer to as a Sun Visor Solution. The design has been given the moniker VisorSat. One of the Starlink satellites, according to SpaceX, will be equipped with a deployable visor, which can be seen in the image below. This visor's purpose is to block sunlight from hitting the brightest parts of the spacecraft. The visor is compressed flush against the body of the satellite before launch, but it unfolds into its extended position once the satellite is in orbit. According to SpaceX, the visor stops light from getting to the diffuse antennas altogether, which prevents light from reflecting off of the antennas. Not only does this approach avoid the thermal impacts of surface darkening the antennas, but it should also have a larger impact on brightness reduction. As a result of SpaceX's statement that all future Starlink satellites will have sun visors by June, the company gives the impression that it has full faith in the VisorSat design. In a few years, the Starlink satellites that are currently in orbit will be deorbited because their designs do not incorporate these new darkening features. So that's all for today's video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to watch more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so that you'll always be notified.